Today's lesson is going to be on the elements of art. Now there are color, line, shape, value, texture, and form. We will not be approaching color because it's a big element and needs a lesson all its own. So this is going to be a review, simplified, of the other elements. When approaching this lesson, you have to be careful with these kids because they are kids. They don't have the academic proficiency, so the wording and all that is very important. So you start them off simple, and this especially applies to my ELS students or international students. So the most important thing is to keep it simple. The first element is line. Line is a very simple but very prevalent element. You find line in just about everything. The way to keep this lesson simple is to keep the drawing simple. There are many examples we can use later on, but as a review I go back to this very simple drawing because it's easy to reproduce. The students reproduce it and they keep a sample of it in their folder. So the first element is line, so I simply draw a line. The second element is shape. Now, shape is simply an enclosed area on a two-dimensional surface. So back to our drawing, we simply make a shape. The third element is form. In any language, it's always the same principle. It's the illusion of three dimensions. So back to our drawing. Now we need to make form. The illusion of three dimensions. Our next element is value. Now value is basically the description of light and dark. It's the shading, the difference between darkness and lightness. It's about contrast, but basically the varying degrees of dark and light. So when approaching this part of the lesson, this element, we want to keep it simple because that's what we're dealing with. So we're dealing with the idea of dark and light, so we can create different values. We have a dark, a medium, and a light. So this shows the student the different values. The idea that you go from dark to medium to light shows them the idea simply of what value is. The last element is texture. Texture is the idea of how something looks. And because you can't really feel it physically, I say you feel it with your eyes. It's easy to look at and determine, is something smooth, is it rough, does it have an irregular surface? Everything has texture. It's just a matter of determining what that is. So texture is basically an irregularity of the surface, to put it fancy. But basically you're just determining how it looks, how it feels. So this is simple, but as you can imagine, texture can be very, very complex. The bottom line is that what we're doing here is a very simple drawing that conveys a lot of different concepts. We start with simple words, give definitions that are translatable very easily, and in that way we bring everyone along slowly. As I was saying, the freshmen, they're 14 years old. They're very new to all this, so their knowledge is very limited. In a way, I find them very similar to my international students because the concepts around art that's new. It's like a new language for them also. So everything has to be done simply. That's the one lesson that I have certainly learned, is keep it simple. and make sure that everyone understands, and those that have trouble with language, you translator. I have a great translator on my iPad, and everything is clear. Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this. It's an easy lesson, something that obviously you can draw very quickly. Thank you very much.